The story begins with a lady exiting a cabin at night to call out to her pet. Since the pet does not run to her, she goes out to look for it. Soon she finds its leash on a tree branch. Someone rushes past her, and she gets scared. An odd man appears near her, making her back away into a lady who brings her down. Then we see blood drops splattered on the snow. The title of the film appears to complement what we observe. Shifting to the inside of a house, our main character, Olivia, is reading a book on vampires. If reading about them was not enough, she also writes a story that includes such a being. On a certain day, she picks up her mail and gets a letter that thanks her for submitting a manuscript of her novel called Touched by a Vampire. The bad news is that she gets rejected because of the large amount of material the publishing company receives. Inside the house, she stores the letter in a drawer full of other mail. They are probably letters containing similar disappointing messages of rejection. At night, something slams into her window, scaring her. Upon exiting her house, Olivia sees a wounded bat in the snow, so she goes back inside to search the internet on how to treat the injured creature. Later, she places the bat into a box and pours a small amount of water there for it to drink. She struggles to place a tiny band-aid on the bat. Having done all she could, Olivia puts the box on a chair in her garage. She says goodnight to the bat. Soon, a man arrives to park near the house for an unknown reason. Come morning, Olivia talks on the phone with her sister, who tells Olivia she does not have a job. She opposes her sister by saying she is a novelist. But her sister knows that it is not going well for her. She says their mom would have wanted Olivia to build a life for herself in the cabin, instead of wasting it. As she talks, she hears a sudden loud noise that startles her. Thus, she concludes the phone call and looks at the door leading to the garage. She walks toward it slowly, collecting a knife along the way. Once she opens the door, she sees a man lying on the floor. He hisses at her uncannily. What's more unusual is that his eyes are completely white, and he has fangs. Olivia does the right thing by leaving the garage and locking the door in fear. She keeps backing away, while holding the knife in front of her in a defensive position. As she backs away, we see a man has arrived at her door. He is the one who parked outside the house last night. His knock scares her. He shows Olivia his badge and says his name is Julius King. He's a private investigator, he adds. Sitting inside now, Julius informs her he is looking for 3 people, showing her their photos. He asks if she has seen them. We should remember 2 of them are the ones who attacked the woman in the beginning. Olivia is interested to know if they are dangerous, and he confirms they are. When she looks at the 3rd photo, she recognizes him to be the man in her garage. Julius says he is more dangerous than the other 2 combined. His name is Luke. Upon being asked if she has seen him, she lies that she has not. At this moment, a very inconvenient loud noise takes place in her garage. Olivia is forced to fabricate a quick lie, telling Julius it was her cat who made the sound. Changing the subject, he asks if she likes vampires. He thinks they are not cool and goes on to describe the wicked things he witnessed them do. She says they aren't real, but he disagrees. Soon he starts to laugh, claiming it was a joke. The man wants her to call him if she sees any of the 3 people he showed her. He also does not want her to call the police. His business card seems to be at odds with him, calling himself a detective earlier. It has the words, "The Severin Group," written on it, and a strange symbol resembling the Illuminati. He exits the house and sees blood on the snow, prompting him to ask what it is. Olivia tells him the truth. Julius educates her that bats either hibernate during the winter or they fly south. If she sees a bat flying around at this time of the year, she has to ask herself what it is eating. Later, he sits in his car, talking to someone on the phone. He says he thinks he is close to nailing one of the subjects. Since he says he got him rather well last night, we know he is talking about Luke. At home, Olivia creates a custom crucifix from sticks. She stands beside the garage door and tells Luke she is coming in there. Once inside, she presents a box of clothes she brought to the vampire. She talks about the clothes for quite some time, but all Luke claims to need is blood. He has to say it a second time for her to get the message. When she leaves the garage, she is delighted for some reason. The next scene shows her at a store, where she asks a worker if they sell blood. Back at home, Olivia pours the blood she purchased into a cup and warms it in the microwave. She has acquired a decent amount of the life fluid. Afterward, she serves the blood to Luke on a tray. The vampire is wearing feminine clothes because it was all that Olivia had to give him. As he starts to drink the substance, he asks what it is. "It is the blood of a pig," answers his keeper. She says she could take it back, but he says it is fine and continues to drink. Perhaps he can't complain, given his injury. Upon finishing, he asks for more. Hence, Olivia keeps bringing more to him until he has finally had enough. He falls to the floor and she covers him with a blanket. Later, she visits Luke, telling him he looks different. He lets her know he feels considerably better. She wants to enter, so she happily joins him on the floor. As she keeps silently smiling at the vampire, he asks if he can help her with something. Olivia reveals her excitement by saying he's a vampire, and she writes about them. Being with him is a big deal for the lady. Once she says she wants to know about the rules, he asks what rules she has in mind. Olivia wants the inconsistencies throughout the many various vampire stories to be resolved. She provides one example of some fictional vampires being harmed by crosses and holy water. But in other stories, such weapons do not affect them. Therefore, Luke informs her about the reality of vampires. He claims a stake through the heart will probably destroy any life form, not just vampires. He prefers not to look at crosses. Holy water can harm them, depending on the priest who blessed it. If the blessing is from a corrupt priest, Luke says he should be fine. Then he shows the wound he received, and says it came from a crossbow bolt dipped in holy water. That delivered substantial damage to him. Though he would not burn in sunlight, it would be painful. While they talk, we see two people approach Olivia's house. Luke senses something and asks if a man in a big coat was there earlier. When she tells him the man's name, Luke anxiously stands up. To calm him, she assures the vampire she did not tell anything to Julius. Luke wants her to know that Julius is the one who nearly took his life. He firmly believes someone is outside now, so he demands she go check who it is. Listening to him, Olivia looks out the door to see no one there. However, we see one of the vampires the moment she walks away. She returns to Luke to report that there is no one outside. At this point, he is curious to learn why she is helping him. Her reason is simple. She wants to know a real vampire. Due to Luke thinking her reason is dumb, she starts opening the garage. This scares him to hide behind a chair, where he pleads for her to close it. Olivia gives him an ultimatum by saying if he does not want her help, he can leave. The vampire is forced to apologize to her, adding he is not strong enough to go back out. As she closes the garage, he claims he's not a bad guy. He drinks people's blood, but he does not take their lives. He also cannot turn people into vampires by biting them. To do that, one must be born a vampire. This means Luke was born a human. He tells Olivia the Severin group will destroy anyone who does not fit into their narrow worldview. They have already destroyed beings he calls candy elves and other unusual beings. Regarding vampires, it is just Luke and a few others who are left. He wants to stay in her garage for a few more nights to collect his strength. Before she leaves him, he asks if he still has to be locked in the garage. He does until she trusts him. Luke at least wants a magazine to avoid boredom, yet she hands him her thick manuscript to read. In her room, Olivia hangs a crucifix on her door handle. Further into the night, the cross falls off and Luke walks into the room to remove her blanket. He is about to bite her neck, but she wakes up from this nightmare. Looking at the door handle, she sees the crucifix is still there. Olivia starts her day by warming up blood in the microwave. When she brings it to Luke, he notices her Nosferatu shirt. He says most vampires find it to be a deeply offensive portrayal of them. She apologizes for it, which she shouldn't have because he was joking. Later, we see Julius outside checking the trash Olivia threw out. He finds the empty cans of blood in there and smiles. In the garage, Luke says he is starting to heal. Olivia tells him she is going to the kitchen to prepare a human breakfast. In the meantime, Julius is on the phone, telling someone that Olivia has been keeping Luke alive. Upon looking outside, she gets grabbed by Julius, who holds her against the wall, demanding to know where the vampire is. He threatens to take the poor lady's life if she does not tell him. Following this, Julius enters the garage and tosses her in there. He opens the garage while showing a crucifix to Luke. This repels him. Alas, Julius wants to hurt him more by putting a wooden stake in Luke's wound. Olivia saves him by slamming Julius on the head with a snow shovel from behind. As she closes the garage, she witnesses Luke is already biting his attacker's neck. Since this is too gruesome for her to accept, she runs out of there to collect herself. At another time, he calls out to her, but she sits dumbfounded. He wants her to say something, which she does not. Thus, he considers reading her novel. At an even later time, she lies on the couch and continues the big vampire book she can't stop reading. She tosses it on the table, perhaps out of frustration with her vampire. Luke calls out to her again, saying he read her novel. Suddenly, she acquires at least a modicum of interest in what he has to say about it. He says he likes it, a statement she does not believe. He thinks she has a good writing voice. If that were true, she would have been published, she replies. Luke thinks he could help her with that. Walking into the garage, Olivia notices the place is clean of blood. However, she also sees Julius's corpse is wrapped in a rug, so she finally allows the vampire to enter her house. In there, she informs him that her mom lost her life last year to cancer. Olivia received this cabin thanks to her mother's will. As they are sitting on the couch, he learns she has been writing from a young age. He holds her manuscript and starts telling her the things he likes about it. She wants him to skip to the stuff he hates. Therefore, he tells her he has an issue with it taking place in Romania. Luke stresses that vampires are not beings who roam around in castles. They go to cool places like Tokyo or London. There is nothing to do in Romania, he says. Moving on to the characters, Luke says Anna is the human, and Vladimir is the vampire she falls in love with. He is okay with Anna, but not with Vladimir. The name alone is annoying to him. He proposes the name Zach instead. Olivia likes the name Ethan, which he does not object to. Then he takes issue with it, not being sensible that Anna falls in love with a creepy man like Vladimir. He wants the vampire to take control, yet in the novel, he whines until close to the end of the book. Luke wants her to know being a vampire isn't sad. It's the opposite of it. One lives forever and doesn't pay taxes. This means the adage of lifelessness and taxes being the only two certain things does not apply to vampires. Opposing him, Olivia says her character is sad because his old life is gone. Every person he knew before he became a vampire has perished. She learns that Luke does not miss his old life. He doesn't even remember it. She does not believe it, but he claims that something like amnesia happens during the transformation. Olivia guesses it could be a defense mechanism to help the new vampire cope with a transition. She thinks it's an interesting concept to explore in her novel, and thinks her characters could try solving the mystery of Vladimir's old life. Through that process, they could fall in love. Later, Olivia types rather enthusiastically on her laptop in bed. In the garage, Luke senses someone's presence outside, so he puts his palm on the garage door. We see a hand on the other side doing the same. Whoever the person is, Luke seems to know they are there. He simply says he isn't ready, and the person leaves. The next day, Olivia is outside, where she notices Julius's car. Drawing near it, she opens the door to get inside. A tablet rests on the seat that requires a password to access. Unfortunately, she does not know it. She opens the trunk and finds a crossbow in there. Taking it, she fires the dangerous weapon by mistake. In the next scene, she brings Luke a present. He hugs her when he sees its non-feminine clothes. She has another surprise for him inside the house. The surprise is a candlelit dinner waiting for him. Olivia did not want him to spend Christmas Eve in her garage. He raises his glass and politely asks her to pass the blood. She has a large bowl of it near her, which she uses to supply him with the desired life liquid. The lady drinks wine whilst he drinks blood, both of their drinks seeming the same in color. As they do, someone watches them from the window. Following this, we see them watching a movie on the couch. Soon enough, Olivia is sleeping. This is a perfect opportunity for him to look hungrily at her neck. Once she wakes up though, he turns away. While she walks away to her bed, he asks if she's going to lock him in the garage. She allows him to sleep in the guest room. For some time after she is gone, Luke still struggles to contain himself. He could have fulfilled his appetite, yet he rightfully resisted the urge. He leaves the house to get some air, where he could maybe collect himself better. He is met by none other than his vampire friends, Jackie and Brock. The lady says he looks ridiculous in the outfit Olivia gifted him. When Jackie mentions her, Luke says the kind lady risked her life to save his. The last time he saw Jackie, she was running away. She wants to know what they were supposed to do when he got shot with a crossbow. He tells her Julius is deceased, and she wants him to show her. Thus, he naively opens the door to invite his friends inside. Instead of waiting for Luke to show them Julius, Jackie instantly runs to Olivia's room. Luke tries to help by yelling out to her. Upon opening the door, Olivia sees Jackie standing there. Her unexpected presence scares Olivia to her bed. Jackie intimidates her on it as she comes closer to the human. She says she has eliminated hundreds of people together with Luke. Olivia replies she is lying. Before escaping from her, she runs to the living room and finds Brock holding Luke. Jackie catches Olivia, making her friend yell to let her go. Ignoring his wish, Jackie says all of Olivia's belongings are now hers. Jackie gives her 10 seconds to run for her life. Once she starts counting, Olivia flees. She manages to run to Julius's car and drive away. At the house, Jackie punches Luke with a punch strong enough to inflict a lot of pain. We see either of the new vampires is stronger than Luke. This opposes what Julius said about him earlier, that he is stronger than both of them combined. Of course, this could be due to his injury. In Julius's car, Olivia finds the wooden cross and the stake that the man used against Luke. Elsewhere, Jackie finds 3 guys who she asks if they want to go to a party with her. They cannot reject her and start following the vampire. In the meantime, Olivia tries to guess the password on the tablet. She succeeds on her second attempt. On it, she finds information about Luke. She also finds disturbing drawings of acts that he supposedly took part in. She closes the tablet and cries. At the other end, Jackie starts attacking one of the guys she was leading to a fake party. Brock is there to take another one, while Luke takes the last of them. He proves to be the most brutal by removing the man's head to drink his blood straight from it. He has finally fed himself properly. Switching to Olivia, she finds a cell phone in the glove compartment. She uses it to call the number on the Severin Group business card. A man named Simon answers the phone. She informs him of Julius's demise and asks if the Severin Group truly got rid of all the candy elves. Simon asks confusedly what that is, meaning Luke lied to her. Olivia wants another vampire hunter like Julius sent to her. Unlucky for her, Simon tells her they don't have anyone else at his level. He was the best of them. They could send another person to her, but in the extremely late month of June. Needless to say, she complains about this, for it is Christmas Eve now. The organization possesses limited resources and limited staff, as Simon informs her. Olivia cries, saying it's all her fault that she saved the vampire. Simon advises against her doing this on her own. However, she does not care about his advice. Come morning, she returns to her house with Julius's crossbow. She sees Brock sleeping there and covers him with a blanket before dragging him outside. As she drags him, the blanket falls off without her knowing. The sunlight causes him to stand up while screaming in pain. Olivia fires a bolt into him to add more damage. Alas, neither the sunlight nor the bolt are enough to extinguish this vampire. Brock tells her she missed his heart. He starts chasing her, and she drops the crossbow in the process of running away. At her house, the other two vampires are lying in bed together. Jackie gets up to look out the window, seeing what is happening outside. Soon Brock catches Olivia and holds her against a tree. She responds by taking the bolt out of his chest to plunge it into his heart this time. Now she got him the right way. Afterward, Olivia re-enters her house armed with the crossbow. Jackie is behind her to deliver a surprise attack. She follows this by going through Olivia's purse to see what weapon she brought. She keeps a small bottle of holy water. Getting on top of Olivia, Jackie is about to impale her with a wooden stake, but Luke prevents that from happening by standing behind her with the crossbow and yelling for Jackie to get away from the lady who took care of him. Jackie stands up to walk toward him, saying he would not shoot her. Once he replies she doesn't know him, she sprays holy water from the tiny bottle on him to inflict serious pain. Jackie is left with only the human Olivia to deal with. It shouldn't be hard. Upon dealing with her though, Jackie makes a big mistake. Olivia uses the homemade cross she made earlier to impale the vampire in the heart. She says, "Merry Christmas" to Jackie and kicks her to her demise. Later, Luke regains consciousness. The first sight he sees is a dangerous one. Olivia is pointing a loaded crossbow at him. She tells him Christmas is about spending time with the people one cares about. It isn't about destroying vampires. She disappointingly tells him he lied to her. He even lied to her about candy elves being real, a lie she considers to be particularly absurd. Now she wants to ask him a few questions and expects to hear nothing except the truth from him. If he lies, she threatens to shoot him in his heart. She is concerned about having been bitten by Jackie, so she asks if she will turn into one of them. Luke tells her Jackie wasn't born a vampire. This means Olivia will be okay. Her second question is if he ever cared about Olivia. He simply nods his head to this one. Her final question is if he truly liked her book. He did like it, save for her character Vladimir. Hearing all this, she lowers the crossbow. Then she sees the sweater she gifted Luke lying on the couch instead of him wearing it. She asks if it's the sweater she gave him, and he struggles to answer. Because of this, she shoots him in the chest. 10 months later, we see Olivia at her book signing. She has finally written something worthy of being published. One of her fans who wants his book signed has a Severin Group business card in his book. The man is none other than Simon, the one Olivia spoke to on the phone during her time of need. He asks the successful author if she would like to work with him on something in the future since she knows how to destroy vampires. But she prefers writing about the creatures of the night rather than dealing with them. Back at her home, she brings a cup of blood to someone in her garage. She tells the person we do not see about how her book signing went. Yet she still needs to hear feedback about her book from her muse. Thus, she asks him how his notes are coming along. We see the person as Luke, who is restrained to a chair. To make the restraint stronger, Olivia added garlic and a crucifix near him. She teases Luke with a spoonful of blood. She takes a notebook from him and sees all he wrote on it is the word blood many times. She becomes upset, asking if he even read her newest draft. All the starving vampire replies with is blood. Being kind to him, Olivia spills the cup of the substance on his head, and he tries to drink it. She smiles looking at him in such a desperate state.